I think we're going to call the meeting to order. This is the annual budget hearing. Item number 2 is the legal notice of annual budget hearing and school vote, and that is informational. Item 3 is a motion to accept the minutes of the annual budget hearing from May 3rd, 2022. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes of the annual budget hearing, May 3rd, 2022?
Motion.
Motion by Pat. Second by Randy. Please proceed to vote.
I'm going to recuse myself. I was a candidate last year, so I didn't have a part of those minutes.
Everybody get there? Did it get on? Did we lose the signal? Okay, well, so we'll do it by hand vote, Norma?
No.
I think we might have lost internet. Okay. We're going to do manual? Okay, well, all in favor, raise your hands. And we have one recusal. It's unanimous, and we have one recusal. That's George. Okay, next item is item 4, introduction of current board members and administrators and the board president. So I am the board president, Keith Stryker. To my left, I have Pat Kelly, Vice President Tim Diamond. We have Superintendent Erin Long, Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Human Resources, Robert Whitaker. We have Board Member Rose Woods, Board Member George Dean, Board Member Danielle Penny Stroop, Board Member Randy McGregor, Board Member Travis Hartman, and Board Member Brent Clark. Our next item is item 5, is the Treasurer's Report, and that is going to be presented by Assistant Superintendent in Finance and Human Resources, Bob Whitaker.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Bob.
Okay, before I start with the treasurer's report, followed by the tax collector's report, I'd be remiss if I did not thank the people for my business. Norma Pena, Tim Decker, Angela Muller, Janet Diamond, and part-time Cindy Dickerson. They do a lot of yeoman's work on everything we do across the street, so I want to acknowledge the work that they do. The treasurer's report is for the cash on hand as of March 31st of 2023. You'll see a grand total of $28 million that we had in the bank as of 3/31. I apologize, learning to work with slides and Google a little bit. I have this darker green section and a darker blue section. The blue section represents restricted funds, restricted money. It's in reserve accounts, and that money has a dedication of what it can be used for. So basically, it's all restricted funds. The green is what I call our operating funds. Currently, that total of operating funds, forgot about that. That total of operating funds is ballpark $17 million. Sounds like a lot of money. That money has to last through May, June, July, August, and through most of September before tax collection starts. So approximately $13 to $14 million of that money will be used over the next 5 months. So just to give you a heads up that it looks like a lot of money for towards the end of the school year, but a lot of expenses take place the last couple months of the year and over the summer. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Bob Whitaker. Moving on to item number 6 is a motion to accept the treasurer's report. Can I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
So move.
Motion by George,
Second.
second by Rose. Any discussion? We'll try it again, Norma. Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
It's good. That's unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved, the board accepts the treasurer's report. Moving on to item number 7, tax collector's report presentation from Bob Whitaker.
This is a report for the tax collection season of the 2022-23 school year. Couple of things I want to point out. Our total tax levy, a little over $21 million. This STAR number is the money that is sent to us via the state. It's money that comes off of taxpayers' bills that are eligible for STAR exemptions. This number, the $20 million, as of our tax season that we collect in-house, is through November 5th or 6th. Amazingly, again, our taxpayers paid 96.83% of the taxes due by November, early November. That is a credit to the support that the community offers to our school. It makes my job real easy because cash flow is now taken care of for most of the rest of the year. What happens is we turn any uncollected taxes over to the counties, Sullivan and Ulster. We turned over $660,000 by New York state law. School districts are made whole by the counties. That money is re-levied on the January bill, and we took in $680,000 in early April. So again, we had a successful tax season. I want to thank all the taxpayers in the district, and their support of the school is wonderful to have. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Bob. Moving on to item number 9 is the, motion for item 8 is a motion to accept the tax collector's report. Can I
Motion.
have a motion to accept the tax collector's report? Motion by Danielle.
Sorry.
It's okay. Motion by Danielle.
Second.
Second by Rose. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved, the board accepts the tax collector's report. Moving to item 9, budget presentation by Superintendent Erin Long and Assistant Superintendent Bob Whitaker.
Good evening, everyone. If I've not met you, I am Erin Long, our Superintendent of Schools, and I'm here with Mr. Whitaker tonight to talk about the 23-24 budget process. So our process, let me click that. Our process really begins the day after the budget is approved, and it's not just looking at the 23-24 budget, it's thinking ahead to the 24-25 school budget. We work in partnership with our staff, our administrators, and our Board of Education. We listen to what our needs are, and then we look at what we can do to provide programmings for our students. And in these times, we also have to prioritize safety. So we're really fiscally responsible about providing safety for all of our students and staff. Certainly, one of the challenges that all districts are facing right now is the cost of living increase. That impacts every part of our budget and our decision making. But one of the things that we focused on is really assessing our expenses. And that assessment has allowed us to shift where some of our monies are going in order to meet the priorities that we have established. As a result of the American Rescue Funds, which in education we call ARP or ARP, and ESSER, which is the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund, those have given us opportunities to do some improvements to our facilities, to offer more programming for our students. Both of those are a result of funding streams that came from COVID. This ends in September of 2024, so we are in the final stages of using these monies. And also keep in mind that while we're planning for the upcoming year, we are looking at short-term and long-term planning so that we can maintain our fiscal sustainability. Mr. Whitaker?
Presented in front of you, and a wonderful job. Again, it looked good on my computer, but it's a little off center, is the three-part budget. All budgets are broken down and required to by an administrative component, a capital component, and a program component. As you can see, the 22-23 school year had a budget of a little over $35,800,000. The board adopted a budget for voter approval of $36,497,000 for the 23-24 school year. Let's see. This one. Okay, part of the capital component, some of the changes that are in there. Mrs. Long mentioned about our security and wellness and safety and wellness initiatives that we're looking for next year. We have an additional $94,000 in next year's budget. It's based upon, we have hired a school security supervisor. We're looking at going back into hiring monitors and event staff. We have some contractual obligations with the county and an SRO, and contractual with some guards, armed guards. This figure of $94,000, while it's a huge investment on our part, has shown and we've seen the benefits of it. We're just starting to initiate the program as we hit May of this year to try to get where we want to be by the close of school and look where we have to improve. But we realize that the wellness and safety of all our students and staff and community is very important. One of the good news, we have some savings coming through. Last year, fuel bids for fuel oil, diesel fuel was wait until the last minute and cost went up dramatically. This year, the fuel bids, which came in February 1st, show about an 8.5% reduction in cost for next year, which is good, but they're still nowhere near where they were 3, 4, 5 years ago. As we're finishing up an EPC, energy performance contract within the district, mostly to do with lighting and some controls, we're starting to finally see the electricity savings. As you can well imagine, most districts were in the world of fluorescent bulbs and lights. While this project was, a good investment on us in the amount of dollars, it will, over the next 15 years, pay for itself. But we're starting to see quite a reduction in some of the bills that for electricity. Another part of the capital component. Capital has to do with our building, our envelope. Has to do with debt service. Last year, about a year ago, I explained the anomaly that we were in with debt service going down and building aid going down. How do we not change a line item that has been very stable over the past 12 to 15 years and not allow for some major impacts in taxing? Last year, voters approved a capital reserve funding for the next 20 years at up to $750,000 a year of unexpensed general fund balance any year if we have the money. By losing $910,000 of debt and adding 750,000 of potential contribution to the capital reserve fund, we have basically stabilized that area of the budget. In our own personal lives, getting rid of debt's the greatest thing we can ever do. But in the world of public financing, stability is key, and I'll refer back to stability as we move forward with some other slides. Central administration, the administrative component. Happy to say that I have a new superintendent this year, and one of the initiatives she has looked at is items that really need to be done within our district. And there's a little expense associated with that. But we have some district-wide initiatives that we believe will ultimately provide better services to our students and a better services to our community. One of them being community schools, some strategic planning, and leadership in school improvement. How do we improve ourselves? How do we move forward? We all know that the past few years during the pandemic, there's a lot to make up for that. And we have to invest some money in our people to do that. On the finance side, we have some, of course, contractual salary obligations. It's a long definition and explanation, but we utilize the central business office at the local BOCES. Prices are increasing there. You're going to see that cost of doing business increase. So that's one big one there. During COVID, we opted to try to save some money, and we had always asked for a waiver for our internal audit. Now we can ask for that waiver because state requirement allows us with less than 1,500 students not to do an internal audit. We do an external audit, but the internal audit, from my perspective, it deals mostly with risk management. Where are you in trouble? Where might you be able to do better? And especially when it comes to dollars and cents. Our office and the business office is charged with safeguarding public monies. We haven't done this in 3 years, so I'm going to make provisions to go back to this because I think financially we're out of the woods with COVID. And again, the increase in tax collection processing. It's not huge, but there is an increase there. A couple of the other items we want to look at. Records management. Wow. I happen to be the records management officer, and it's a scary thing because this district, as probably any long-standing public school, has records and records and records. We've been fortunate just prior to my arrival here and once during my stay here is we were able to get some grants to digitize payroll records, accounts payable, things that have, some of them are permanent records. I originally wanted to really go crazy and put about $100,000 into this line item. But after looking at the budget and realizing we couldn't afford to do that, we modified it down to $30,000, which should enable us to take care of all our personnel records. And the BOCES administrative cost. The cost of BOCES, when it goes up, it gets passed on to us. It's up about $21,000 for next year. Now comes the meat and potatoes, the program component, where all our teachers, our staff, our administrators do the work daily. Just a couple of notes. Over $950,000 are annually paid via grants, not the ARP grants that Mrs. Long was referring to, but our IDA grants, our 611, 619 grants, all our title grants, and our UPK and pre-K grants. I bring this to people's attention because that's a lot of salaries. So, but luckily those grants are relatively stable, relatively protected, and it's great that we are able to utilize them. We had a few positions in this year's budget that we could not fill. Staff recruitment is a challenge for every school district, but these positions are still in the original version. The social worker got moved, and I'll explain that in a second. Special education costs are rising, as with everything else. And special education costs are ones that are hard to guess and or manage at times. The costs that we spend on campus in district, we're able to manage and handle quite well. The off-campus costs, which every school has them, are ones that are going up quite a bit. Off-campus costs also mean there's transportation involved. So the transportation costs have escalated. So we're very cognizant of this. My job and my goal is always to make sure that the budget can handle what we know in March and April and what happens in September, November, and January. This year, I said to social work, we have brought in a 4th psychologist this year. Student needs, very important. CPI transportation costs, our transportation costs are dictated by a CPI figure. The years that it's 0 and 0.2 are all well and good. Those days are behind us right now. This is estimated to be 7%. So transportation costs going up 7%. If you look in the line item of the budget, there's like $3.8 million in there. Wow, that's a lot of money. People need to remember, I get transportation aid to the benefit of about $1.7 million a year. So while transportation is expensive, the reporting that we do through the state of New York enables us to get about 1/3 of it back in aid from the state. As Mrs. Long mentioned, our ARA funds are sunsetting September 30th of 2024. We are using some ARA funds for transportation in hopes that CPI will back off. And as we enter the 24-25 school year, there'll be some more stability in the economy and in our CPI rates. Like I said, the off-campus runs, we're trying to share with other districts as much as possible. Not always easy, but throughout the county, we give that a shot. And interfund transfers. I had mentioned this to the board. Our interfund transfers, summer programming for on-campus and off-campus and special ed areas. It's covered by 80%. We get 80% aid. For every dollar, we get 80 cents back, but that 20 cents is ours. Where for years, I was able to cover that with a $38,000 line item, those costs and the particular needs of the students that are off campus in the summer have risen. So that interfund transfer up to $68,000, I believe, is a result of just covering the cost, our 20% of summer costs for special ed students. Okay, how do we pay for this? You're going to see in another slide, but here's our revenue stream to get to our $36 million. I'm going to highlight a couple of points. Taxes up 1.49%. Our tax cap, now I'm embarrassed because I can't remember the exact, you're going to see in a second the exact percentage. We have a tax cap. Last year, our tax cap was well over 3%. Last year, we raised taxes 0.8%. And I'll show you that slide in a second. But I have made the recommendation to the board to establish that as the potential tax levy for next year, a 1.49% increase. Interest and earnings. While the economy is really not doing great, one thing we are seeing with the Fed raising the prime all the time, interest rates are rising. Mrs. Decker, my treasurer, and I have met a few times with our local bankers. We're able to get some better rates. He's availing certain accounts to us that we get daily interest rates. May not sound like a lot that our interest rate is up to 2%. 3 years ago, it was 0.15%. So that's a huge increase as a percentage. State aid of $12 million. You'll see there's a small reduction from last year. Our overall general aid was increased. The reduction is based upon one of our building projects fell off the map. We've got fully funded on that. So that's why there's a decrease there. But I really want to focus on state aid for a second. As you can see, we're relatively stable. In this year's governor's budget and the one that was signed by the state, Foundation aid has been restored across the state. What does that mean? Many years ago, a formula was designed that was going to be equitable for all schools to get the proper aid. All well and good until the economy was not doing well, and they said, well, we'll give it to you next year. Well, we'll give it to you next year. Well, next year finally came for a lot of districts. Not us, because we were pretty well funded. There are 3 districts in this county that received a cumulative total of over $20 million in additional state aid. Wow. Last year, Dr. Silver spoke about the cliff. When does the cliff hit of how the state can afford to keep that money coming forward? We have a declining population. We have a declining wealth in the state. How sustainable is that $20 million for those 3 school districts? I said to the board, I'm ecstatic. We're stable. My world is in great place when we are stable, to try to stabilize things. So while we have a little fluctuation in state aid, I think that for the long term, our district is set to be able to maintain the avenue that we're on. Like I said, money, you don't look a gift horse in the mouth, but that one was a little scary. And finally, this $288,000 applied reserve balance. In the treasurer's report, you saw all those restricted funds. Most of them are highly restricted, can only be used for certain things. We do have 2 reserve funds, the workers' comp and the insurance reserve, that are user-friendly for school districts. It allows us to take some of that money and bring it back to the general fund with the board's approval to support educational programming. It does not require voter approval. It does not require, a whole bunch of work to take place to get it done. So it gives us some flexibility. 4 years ago, I think I put a number in there, never had to use it. So it's there. It's a plan that the business world has that in case we need to, we do have the ability to tap into one of our reserves funds for $288,000. So you see an overall budget increase of 1.84% with a proposed tax levy increase of 1.49%. And I know those are the numbers that most people want to look at. Okay, next up. Tax levy, tax cap. This is a 5-year look. Tax cap was 1.78%. We used it. That was our tax levy. Remember that number there. Following year, we had a tax cap at 2.08%. Went out at 0. Maintained our tax levy. The following year, our tax cap said, negative. We had to. We reduced our tax levy by the 0.8%. Last year, tax cap, 3.57%. We could have raised taxes by 3.57% and been able to do so with a simple majority vote. We opted to ask our taxpayers for just the difference in what we lost the year before. Fast forward to the proposal for this coming year, 2.46% is our tax cap. We're asking our voters to approve a 1.49% tax levy increase. They are not approving a tax levy increase. They're voting for a dollar value associated with the budget. Tax levies are done in August. Your tax cap, you can't exceed that unless you try to, but this number can fluctuate. I try not to do it, but let's just say for some reason a miraculous $3 million showed up that is working great. We could alter that tax levy. So the tax levy is not etched in stone based upon the budget vote. This is a number that's used as a plan. Looking over our 5-year average, our average tax levy increase is 0.6%, with an average tax levy increase of $63,000. So I think we've been pretty successful, not because of me, because of the efforts of many people and the people that set the table before I came to work here. And I don't know, there's another one, Aaron, is there? Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Aaron Long and Bob Whitaker. Moving along to item number 10 is recognition of retiring board members. This year, we do not have any retiring board members, so we will move on to item 11, which is the introduction of board candidates, and we're going to have an opportunity for them to present to the public, and each candidate will have 10 minutes to speak. The first thing we're going to do is pick the order of the 5 candidates, and I have a basket here, which I will pick a name. Tim, my vice president, will verify, and we'll set the order. First one up would be Robert Vale Curry. And just let me go through the whole thing, and we'll set it up. Next one up will be myself, Keith Stryker. And it'll be Patrick Kelly. It'll be Tammy Chaboti. And Randy. Michael Scott. Randy McGregor. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Curry, would you like to step up to the podium? And you have 10 minutes. Okay. It's the moment we've been waiting for.
My name is Robert Curry. I live in Neversink, New York, 160 Mutton Hill Road. And in the early 80s and early 90s, I served 12 years on the board here. And that was an education in itself. And last year I ran, got the fewest number of votes of anybody, but that didn't stop me from caring about the school district. I've been working kind of behind the scenes, talking with parents, students, and then I take the issues that I see to Erin Long. I don't know if that's ethical or not, but she needs to know what's going on. And one of the issues that we talked about was referrals. When a student gets in trouble, there's a referral that goes to the principal. There should be a copy of that referral that goes to Erin Long so that she can't say, I didn't know about that. And there should be one that goes to the parents and one that goes to the principal. That's one of the things that I would like to see happen so that everybody knows what's going on. One hand knows what the other is doing. I'm very conservative by nature. So if you're a very liberal person, you probably don't want to vote for me. If you have conservative values and you treasure what's happened in the past and you don't want to see things turned upside down like the whole nation is turning it upside down now, I would be the one to vote for. If you want to see big changes in liberalism and wokeness, I'm not for that, and I don't know what we can do about it. I know I had one issue that I discussed, last year about Title IX, in men and women's sports and things, and I thought that Title IX would support the girls that are in sports. But Keith straightened me out on that. He gave me a packet from the state, and Title IX supports those that think they want to be women. So, there's not a lot that you can do on a board, but, hey, there's some ideas that I have that could keep things straightened out a little bit, which I won't get into now. I'm not running against anyone. I'm running for a position here. I have no axe to grind with anybody. I just want to see that this school is one of the best schools, because when it comes time where students start leaving and the state says they can take their money with them, we still have the same number of roads to plow, the same number of roofs to put on, teachers to pay, and the expenses are all the same. But when the money starts going, you'll see taxes go up then. So I think the goal here has to be to make this school the best school where people want to come here, not leave here. I think that's probably long enough. Hey, I think Keith does a great job with our presidency here, and I honor him.
Thank you, Bob. Good evening, everyone. Just want to extend my apologies to the TVTA. I was not able to attend their event tonight. This is one of the seasons in budget time when my two board positions with BOCES and Tri-Valley kind of have back-to-back meetings, so I run from one meeting to the next for the last two meeting periods. So, but anyway, I want to thank you to my fellow board members for placing their trust in me to lead the Tri-Valley Board of Education this year. It's truly been an honor. I value my experience and appreciate having the opportunity to grow with a supportive board, administration, and our talented and dedicated staff. Service to the community is very important to me. I take my board position seriously, and I am committed to continuing my work to make a positive and lasting difference in our students' lives and education. As I have done over the past 3 years, I will be present not only at board meetings, but committee meetings, concerts, plays, sporting events, and celebrations. I will put the time in to keep Tri-Valley a great place to learn and work. In addition to my Tri-Valley board position, I am a member of the BOCES School Board, where I have an opportunity to proactively represent Tri-Valley students on a second front. So where do we go from here? I know there will be many tough decisions ahead. The needs of our school are great, and money is not unlimited. As a taxpayer in this community, I assure you that I will continue to work on budgets that best serve our students, but also take into consideration our taxpayers and hardworking staff. Whatever the challenge, whatever the crisis, Tri-Valley will hold the line. We don't overreact or underreact. We deal with issues professionally and logically. We do it with respect, and we do it based on facts. I believe this approach serves us well. Thank you, Tri-Valley. Thank you for the opportunity to serve as a Tri-Valley board member. I appreciate your continued support and hope I can count on you to get on the bus. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm going to start off with an apology. I did not have the pleasure of taking Mr. Haynes's college public speaking course, so I'm not as polished as I should be. I do have some prepared remarks here, a little long in my opinion, but we'll run through them. So good evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Pat Kelly, and I'm a current member here on the Tri-Valley School Board, seeking re-election to a 4th term. My wife and I are both Tri-Valley graduates. We live up in Neversink with our 3 kids. Andrew and Riley are 8th and 11th graders respectively. Our oldest son, Brian, graduated last year, and he's just finishing up his first year at Springfield College. Having a student come out of Tri-Valley where he's been here his entire career, I was curious, how is he going to match up to kids from around the country when he gets to college? I was pleasantly surprised that he was able to kill it his first year, and that's due to the efforts of our staff here at Tri-Valley. For the past 18 years, my family and I have been active in our community. Our collective involvement includes organizations such as Cub Scouts, AYSO, Tri-Valley Youth Football, Tri-Valley Little League, Boy Scouts, as well as the library. These activities often had us running in more than one direction, but they showed us what was possible when commitment from an adult is paired with a child who's eager to engage. For the last 20 years, I've worked down here at the DEP, and currently I'm the lab director in the drinking water lab. Working so close to the school has afforded me the opportunity to actively participate in my children's education. as well as participating in countless events during the school day, whether volunteering in their classrooms, chaperoning field trips, attending school board functions as a board rep. I've gained a deeper understanding of the inner workings of the school. Throughout time, I've witnessed the same rewards mentioned previously of adults working with children. Whether in gen ed or special ed, on the field or on the stage, the collective work of our staff allows our kids to grow. I've always felt that this growth is enhanced when parents take an active role in their students' education. This has never been more true than today. The devastating toll COVID had on our kids, both educationally and socially, is immeasurable. Education, as we know it, was turned upside down, but this was met with innovation, determination, and compassion. Parents, in my opinion, need to redouble their efforts to ensure their children recover to the extent possible. I often joke that people should run from board service rather than for it. This is truly said in jest. My last 9 years on the board has included stints as a board member, board vice president, and board president. Each position was unique and rewarding, with some being much more demanding than others. So this brings me to the important question of why am I running again for the school board? Here are a few of the reasons. I'm running to continue to represent the interests of your children as well as my own. I want to encourage greater community interaction with the board. These meetings are open to the public, so you have a chance to voice your concerns, whether items are on the agenda or not. I want to ensure that our school children receive a quality, balanced education that prepares them for whatever path they take after graduation. Their education should be rooted in academics and include every possible exposure to arts, music, and sports, all disciplines which contribute to a well-rounded student. And at Tri-Valley, I think we are able to do that for our children. So I want to make sure that continues. I feel as a member of the board, it is important to be fiscally responsible and fiscally conservative. Each dollar must be stretched as far as possible given the current underfunding of education by the state. The board must be mindful that it's the public's money that is being spent. That's important, whether you're a taxpayer in the district or, or not. It's a rather important duty, in my opinion. This year's the problem of chronic absenteeism has been discussed formally and informally. I've heard the frustration from staff, and the go-to solutions to these problems are no longer available. We all know that students must be here for staff to work their magic. I plan to continue looking for some type of resolution to this rather serious problem. Finally, I want to ensure that our wonderful staff receives the support they need and deserve. I believe they profoundly impact our children and that they are helping shape our children's future. So your support would be appreciated. Support for the budget is more important, but if you did want to vote for me, I would appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Tammy Chibodi.
Good evening, Tri-Valley. First of all, I'd like to thank the Teachers Association for a wonderful evening. It was very nice to sit and talk with many of the staff in this school. My name is Tammy Chibodi, and I am a candidate for the Tri-Valley Central School District Board of Education. I live in Neversink with my husband, Eric, and our 2 children who attend Tri-Valley. Savannah is in the 9th grade, and Wyatt is in the 7th. Both my children have excelled here at Tri-Valley and love being part of the Bears family. The reason they have excelled here is because of the staff. My husband and I greatly appreciate the staff at Tri-Valley. I have been a volunteer in our community for many years, serving with AYSO, Cub Scout Pack 87, Girl Scout Troop 314, and 4-H. I am also the secretary on the board of directors for the Catskill Animal Rescue in Liberty. It's also known as CARE. I retired in July of 2022 after 32 years of service with the New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision. I have decided to run for the Tri-Valley School Board because I'd like to see improvements within our school and continue to serve our community. I feel there is a continued need for better communication between the district leaders, the staff, and the families of Tri-Valley. When we communicate effectively, many problems are minimized, if not eliminated. The staff and families of Tri-Valley deserve to learn firsthand what is going on in our schools. This information should come from the district, not Facebook or word of mouth, which often includes inaccurate information. Another area in need of improvement is the safety and security of our schools. During my time with corrections, I was responsible for the safety and well-being of over 800 individuals on a daily basis, which included staff, inmates, and visitors to the facilities in which I worked. I feel this experience qualifies me to assist in assessing and strengthening our security weaknesses. Over the last few weeks, there have been several physical altercations between students. These fights not only put the participants at risk of receiving serious injury, but also the staff and other students at risk as well. There have been two incidents in local schools, one in the Monticello School District, in which involved a weapon, and the other incident occurred in the Poughkeepsie School District, which included a student being airlifted out. We need to be proactive and do something here in Tri-Valley before that occurs. Staff and students deserve a violence-free environment for both work and learning. Multiple other school districts have had these incidents, as I just said, which required advanced emergency medical care for the victims. Violent students need to be handled appropriately. Suspending students for fighting does not change their thinking. Teaching these at-risk students alternatives to violence should be a priority. In addition to a physically safe work environment, staff are entitled to a hostile-free workspace. They should be happy to come to work each day and know without question they are appreciated and valued by their administration. Employees who feel supported and appreciated perform far above their colleagues who don't. To quote Tri-Valley's Code of Conduct introduction, the Board of Education is committed to providing a safe and orderly school environment where students may receive and district personnel may deliver quality educational services without disruption or interference. The school district is committed to ensuring each student is healthy, safe, engaged, supported, and challenged. Helping students develop self-discipline and social and emotional growth, and guiding students in improvement in corrections of inappropriate, unacceptable, and unsafe behaviors. We need to do better by both our staff and our students. On Tuesday, May 16th, please vote for me, Tammy Shaboti, to represent your interests and concerns on the Tri-Valley School Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. Miranda McGregor.
Good evening. My name is Randy McGregor, and I am running for the school board. I do not have a written speech prepared. I'm just going to speak from my heart here. First of all, I've had 3 kids. Well, I have 3 kids. 1 graduated and is on to college, and 2 are still members of the Tri-Valley School District. I only have one message. Nothing else matters besides our children. They receive a quality education here. They are in a safe environment. There are challenges, of course, but I have the utmost faith in the staff that these challenges will be met. I do not necessarily worry about the safety here. I believe the school is secure. Every school has issues, and with our fine superintendent and the staff, we are meeting the challenges. I believe that while I've been on the board, that we have been fiscally responsible, looking out for the district, and trying to provide a well-balanced education for our kids. That is really it. I support our staff, I support our children, and I support our new superintendent. I think she's wonderful, along with the staff and our kids. If I'm blessed enough to have a third term, thank you. If not, thank you for the 6 years for allowing me to serve. Thank you, Tri-Valley.
Thank you, Randy. Okay, our next item up is going to be board comment section, item 12. So we'll go around the board. Brent, any comments? Nothing? Travis?
I have nothing. Thank you.
Randy?
I have nothing, but I'd like to thank the Teachers Association for that fine event tonight. I'm sorry I didn't mention that previously.
Danielle?
Nothing, thank you.
George?
Can we speak about the budget at all? I have a question in reference to the state. There was some talk about security funds. Did that go through? And what's the criteria for the school district to get some of those if it's available?
I do know about the discussion you had, we've heard it. The particulars as to a exact line item, state aid is, security is not one of the items broken into state aid. I do know that they are talking about having some grant opportunities to deal with that. I know Mrs. Long has been talking to the district superintendent of BOCES and as well as her colleagues. From what I can tell you currently, there is nothing etched in stone and there is no avenue to really find out much more information yet. But I'm not saying it's not going to come, but I know it's just, the budget was just passed.
There are grants available through Homeland Security that we can pursue, and I'll talk a little bit about our visit with Homeland Security in a few minutes. But as far as I know, the state's not, it's an unfunded mandate, really. I mean, we want to have security, but the state's not giving us money towards that.
Thank you. I'd like to applaud all the board members for wanting to get involved. The more engaged you are as board members, the more the district will respond for the betterment of our students and staff. But you must be engaged and stay engaged. It does take time. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Rose? No. Tim?
Just real quick, thanks for the 5 that are going for the spots. The competition's important. It keeps the blade sharp. When we get complacent and comfortable and there's no competition, we get weaker. So I applaud all of you. A first-year board member here. These positions are a lot of time and a lot of service to the community. So thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Pat?
I just want to take a moment and recognize Mr. Whitaker for all the hard work that he did on the budget. I know he went ahead and he recognized his staff. I know Bob has worked diligently since he came to Tri-Valley. I just want to say I appreciate his effort. I appreciate the conservative lens in which he approaches, our fiscal standing. So just thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving along to item 13, adjournment. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Tim, second by Danielle. Please proceed to vote.
Yay.
That's unanimous. Be resolved, the board adjourned the meeting at 7:58 p.m. We will be starting with our regular meeting in just a minute. Let me get a few things organized. Are you Randy? We're in? Okay, we're going to call the regular meeting to order. Please join us for the pledge, and please remain standing for a moment of silence for a former employee, Barbara White. I pledge allegiance. Please remain standing. Thank you. Okay, we are going to move to item 1D, the memorial resolution for Barbara Weiss. Whereas Mrs. Barbara A. Weiss served as a staff member and substitute teacher of the Tri-Valley Central School District, and whereas Mrs. Barbara Weiss exemplified extraordinary commitment to the students of the Tri-Valley School District, and whereas Mrs. Barbara A. Weiss passed away April 23rd, 2023, be it resolved that the Tri-Valley Central School District extends its thanks to Mrs. Barbara A. Weiss for her service, and be it resolved that the Tri-Valley Central School District extends its sympathy to the family of Mrs. Barbara A. Weiss during this time of mourning. Thank you. Our next item is number 2, is correspondence. We don't have any tonight. We'll move on to item 3, is public comment session for items that are on tonight's agenda. I haven't had anyone sign up to speak. So we'll move to item 4, presentations and guests. And I'm not aware, we're not ready. Move to item number 5, the superintendent's report. Ms. Erin Long.
Thank you. First, I want to just acknowledge our teachers. It's Teacher Appreciation Week. And really the work that our teachers and all of our staff do each day is really above and beyond. And I'm incredibly proud of everyone and the relationships that they have with their staff and their students. As a small token of our appreciation this week, we've set up a couple of thank yous. We had a breakfast yesterday for our staff, a little snack today. Tomorrow we have lunch for them. We have a little treat for Thursday and ice cream for everyone on Friday. While it doesn't really begin to put a dent in how thankful we are for what they do, we wanted to send a small token of our appreciation. Thank you to our teachers and our staff. Next, I would like to acknowledge and present Mr. Stryker, our Board of Education President, with a certificate of participation from the New York State School Boards Association for his continually expanding his governance knowledge and skills. This is achieved by participating in NYSBA trainings, workshops, events, and activities. So, Mr. Stryker, here is a certificate for you. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about the survey that we sent out to the community last week. We are using a platform called Thought Exchange, and that helps us create and distribute surveys to our staff, to our students, and our community to gather feedback. And so we had put a survey out last week around communication. That's going to help us drive our 23 and 24 school year as far as better ways to communicate with our community and what platforms they best receive those. We had over 190 people participate in it. But I do want to clarify that one of the things when we went and worked on the survey and the data results today is we didn't clearly acknowledge the time length of the survey. So we've already made adjustments to that. So not everybody knew it had closed on Friday night. So apologies for that. Next week, we're going to be sharing the results with our administrative team and our staff. And then we will put together that summary and have it on our Facebook page as well as our district website. And if anyone would like a copy of that, a paper copy, just call Mrs. Pena or myself and we'll make sure that we get that to you. Yesterday, a group of us met with a consultant from Homeland Security to schedule a safety audit for our district. He will be back with us in the next couple of weeks to complete that audit. And so while we know we have to continually reflect and grow every day, In the short time that he was with us, he was very pleased with some of the measures that we have in place. So we're really looking forward to kind of the feedback that he can give us. I want to circle back to the civics and social justice class and the presentations from Dylan Pulley and Austin Hartman. Really through a very lengthy process and perseverance on Mr. Klaus's part, he was able to secure a contract with MVP Sports Care. They are a group of athletic trainers, and so I'm happy to say that we are in contract, or will be tonight after we approve it, with them for the remainder of this year, and then we'll renew our contract, but we will have an athletic trainer that will be at our events starting, I think, at the track meet last weekend. But it's great, and my hope is that we can eventually perhaps offer that service to our staff one day a week, that they can see a trainer for anything going on. I also wanted to follow up on the shoulder pads and helmets. They have been ordered through Stadium Systems. And again, Mr. Klaus has been working on that really much longer than it appeared, but because of supply and demand, he simply wasn't able to get those products, but they are ordered. So they'll be here for our boys to start in the fall. So again, thank you to Austin and Dylan for bringing this to our attention and keeping us moving forward with those things. Along with that, I would like to invite our civics and social justice class to join us at the June 8th board meeting to give a quick summary of the projects that they have been working on. It's also their day that they're going to be showcasing all their projects. I think the event is 12:30 to 3 in the secondary school upper gym. But there are some amazing things that our kids are doing for our community and for our school. And I think we really, as a board, need to hear about them. I am super impressed. Parents of seniors, we are meeting tomorrow to finalize the information we'll be sending home, and you should be receiving a flyer within the next week outlining all the events that will be happening for our kids in the next 6 weeks. And then finally, a quick public service announcement. Our annual budget vote and Board of Education elections will be held next Tuesday, May 16th, from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. in our secondary school main gymnasium. And we will hope everybody can come out and vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Long. Okay, moving to item number 6, items the board wants pulled from tonight's agenda. Anything? You're moving to item 7, the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, items 7A to K?
Motion.
Motion by Rose, second by Pat. Please proceed to vote.
Yay.
It's unanimous, thank you. Be it resolved, the board approves the consent agenda, recommended action, including the business portion, items 7A through K. Moving to item number 8, board policy committee summary sheet as of May 9th, 2023. It's just an informational. Does anyone have any questions? Any comments? Okay.
Just want to confirm everybody received the policies in the mail. Okay, great.
Okay, moving to item 9, old business. I don't have anything scheduled for old business tonight. Item number 10 is public comment session for items that are not on tonight's agenda. I have no one sign up. Item 11 is announcements, reminders of upcoming events. Is anyone? Deb Kelly?
I just want to make sure everyone knows we have a fine and industrial arts show next week during the budget vote. And also many items of student work will be displayed during the day. So come out for that if you are able to. It'll be a great time, and it'll be happening. The fine and industrial arts show will be happening in this space, which is different than what they've done in the past. And we're hoping for a lot more visibility for the student work. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Bieberroth.
Good evening. Happy Mother's Day coming up for those who celebrate Mother's Day or those who are mothers. May 16th, we're going to have a 12 p.m. dismissal. May 18th, our fourth graders will be taking the New York State field test. It's a practice test for questions for next year. May 19th, our fifth graders will be having a DARE graduation at 9 a.m. I'd like to invite anybody here as well as students and families. May 19th is our sneaker night as well. It'll be the final one for the year. And May 24th, we'll be having a career day in the elementary school. We'd like to invite you guys to come and see what's going on. That's what we have there.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I had a question. Does anybody know when the Mother's Day plant sale for FFA starts? Is that Thursday or Friday? It started already. Today. Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Okay, moving along to item 12, new business. We have a professional services agreement between Tri-Valley Central School District and MVP Sports Care, Inc., 2022 to 2023. Is an action. Can I have a motion to accept the professional services agreement between Tri-Valley and MVP Sports?
Second.
Motion by Randy, second by
Travis.
Travis. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Yay.
That's unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved, the board approves the professional services agreement between Tri-Valley Central School District and MVP Sports Care, Inc. for 2022-2023 as attached to the public portion of the agenda. Item 13 is board comment section. Does anyone have anything they want us to talk about? Okay. And we move to adjournment. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by
Second.
Motion by Tim.
Second by Hartman.
Travis. Please proceed to vote.
Okay.
That's unanimous. Be it resolved, the board adjourned the meeting at 8:18 p.m. Thank you. Have a great night.